So the S&P 500 is changing. There's a new sector being introduced into the S&P 500 starting this Monday. That sector is called the Communication Services sector. It's going to go under the ticker symbol XLC, and it's going to replace the previously existing telecom sector. So let's go over what this means for you as an investor. So the existing telecom sector only has 3 stocks in it really. It has AT&T, Verizon, and CenturyLink. So there's not really many stocks that make up the sector. In fact, there's only 3. And this was actually known as a very safe sector, a very slow growth but high dividend yielding sector. In fact, its dividend yield was around 5.4%, which is what attracted a lot of investors into this sector. Well, starting this Monday, the new communication services sector, like I said, will be replacing this existing telecom sector. And this sector will have a basket of around 22 different holdings. So these holdings include companies like Facebook, Alphabet, which is Google, Netflix, Disney, Activision Blizzard, and a bunch of other more known companies. What I found a bit interesting though was that 2 of these stocks, which is Alphabet and Facebook, will make up around $1.25 trillion worth of this ETF, which actually equates to around half of this ETF's worth. In fact, if you look here at the top 10 holdings of this ETF, we can see here that they actually make up around 3/4 of this whole ETF. So now with this shift of some of the stocks moving from tech stocks to this new communication services sector, there are some changes in the weightings of the S&P 500. However, the tech sector still remains the largest, but it will drop from a weighting in the S&P 500 from around 26% previously for tech stocks to around 20% now moving forward. So many of these companies that I listed were actually seen as tech stocks in the past, and I'm sure a lot of people still see them as tech stocks. But if you think about the services that they offer or the value that they provide, they're actually more of a services stock, which makes it very fitting that they're in this new services ETF. So what does this mean for investors? So the first is that the dividend will be taking a huge hit. The dividend for this new XLC ETF will be around 1.7%, which is down from the previous 5.4% that we mentioned in the telecom sector. This also means that because there's a lot more growth stocks in this sector now, that there will be a lot more volatility. So your typical stocks like AT&T and Verizon, which are fairly stable companies, don't really have much volatility throughout the year. Now they're going to be added and included with other companies like Google, Facebook, like other companies that we mentioned, which have very high volatility. So now this will be another huge risk for investors moving forward. The plus side though is you kind of get a good mix now of growth stocks and dividend stocks, so it's a more diversified portfolio. So if you are willing to take on a bit more risk, you are kind of getting a much better diversified portfolio in my opinion. But one thing you have to keep in mind if you do choose to invest in this new ETF versus the old telecom ETF is that the returns you will see in the next few years will most likely either severely underperform or severely outperform the previous telecom ETF. And that's because, like we said, some of these large growth companies like Facebook and Google and Netflix will significantly move this ETF in one direction or another. So that's something you need to be aware of if you do plan to invest in this ETF. So guys, as always, stay informed when investing in ETFs. What I would say, in my opinion, still is that if you do want to get a diversified portfolio and you don't want to go handpick stocks, the S&P 500 or the SPY is probably one of the best ETFs you can get. There are alternatives out there with lower management fees, but the S&P 500 index is what you want to go for. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and don't forget to check out our VIP group. You will get insight into my portfolio, into the trades that I make. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description below. Either way guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.